honestly, I don't think influencing is a real job.
Stop ***ing how much influencers make. The influencer industry is probably the only female-dominated industry that pays well.
Any influencer who tells you this job is hard is either lying or just straight up lazy.
I don't care if this sounds out of touch. Being a creator is not easy. Nobody ever talks about the journey to actually getting there.
Controversial opinion, but I think that most influencers are going to end up going broke.
I literally just finished work and it's 5:19. Try being an influencer for a day. Try it.
Social media influencers, the new celebrities of our generation. But while some make it big, others seem to disappear just as fast. So, is being an influencer a sustainable career? And what really happens when the spotlight fades? Over the past decade, social media influencers have redefined fame. From TikTok dancers to Instagram models, influencers have become just as recognizable as Hollywood stars. But how did this happen? And why are they treated like celebrities now? What do you think separates an influencer from a celebrity?
I think celebrities have a longer term career and they're more known for their talent, whether it be singing or modeling, for example. But I think influencers are more short term, and even though they're more short term, I feel like they're also able to get better at cash grabs. For example, we're doing like business deals or sponsorships.
What do you think differentiates an influencer from a celebrity?
I think a celebrity is more mainstream than an influencer. So an influencer is like a celebrity but in their own demographic. For example, you can have like a car influencer. Obviously, if you're not interested in cars, you probably wouldn't pay too much attention to his opinion on cars because you don't care about cars. But I think that's the difference. Celebrities are more mainstream, while influencers are more niche.
Before social media took over, becoming a celebrity usually meant years of honing your skills in acting, singing, modeling, or excelling in sports. You needed talent and connections to break into the industry. Fame was earned through hard work and skill, and maintaining it meant constantly delivering top-tier performances. As we emerge into the social media era when everyone was trying to break the internet, one viral moment could launch an average person into stardom overnight, which was apparent on programs like The Ellen Show. But nowadays, all we see on our feeds are viral videos, since social media has democratized fame, making it possible for anyone with a phone and a personality to build an audience. Whether it's through dance challenges, makeup tutorials, or just living a relatable lifestyle, being famous has become more about presence and performance. But what does this mean for traditional celebrities? Will influencers overtake them? Are influencers overtaking real celebrities?
Online, yes, but in reality, not really. I feel like even though you have events like the VMAs, for example, or the Grammys or Oscars or whatever, only a handful of influencers will be invited to those events. A majority of the people there will be celebrities known for their talent. So I don't think celebrities will ever be overshadowed.
Do you think that influencers could one day overtake celebrities?
I think the fundamental roles that celebrities and influencers have are different. So I think they might become as important as celebrities, but I don't think they'll ever overtake one another.
Influencing has allowed millions of people to earn a living from social media, making it their primary and sometimes only source of income, which is where jobs such as content creation come into play. They're not your typical day jobs, and they're still quite new. So of course there's going to be some controversy surrounding the question of being an influencer is a real job.
This might be a very hot take, but honestly, I don't think influencing is a real job. I think it's a temporary job because, believe it or not, everyone has their peak. Everyone has their peak. Do you remember, like in 2020, people were peaking, they had the hype house, they were making hella they have brand deals. Where are they now? You don't see them on your For You page, you don't see them on any sort of ads or anything, especially those who either dropped out of high school or college to pursue social media and are now broke because they don't get any views, and their only source of income was social media, which is their first mistake. I do think obviously if you do it right, you can make so much money, but the algorithm picks and chooses. You can be popping for one moment, like 2 or 3 years, and completely just fall off.
Whilst many succeed with social media influencing, many still fall off. Some quit, some fade out, and others are caught up in scandals that damage their careers beyond repair. Unlike traditional fame, digital fame is fleeting. One algorithm change, one bad headline, and it could all disappear. Where do you think that the forgotten influencers go?
I think the forgotten influencers go and have a normal life, or I think those influencers either stick with the business, because a lot of them do have businesses, for example, but they don't grab as much media attention, of course, but they just go back to having a normal life.
Why do you think their fame was so short-lived?
Because of cancel culture. because of maybe something they did, like they expressed a hate comment or they just stopped posting as much. I feel like that because of that, they slip back into their normal lives and feel more comfortable like that.
Where do you think all the forgotten internet sensations go? Like, do you think the algorithm is to blame, or do you think it's just because they're not entertaining their audiences enough?
I think when it comes to those 5 minutes of fame people, they simply only offer a smaller bit of content or something interesting to look at. It's like reading a poem. After you read it once, you might not want to read it again afterwards. So I think they just become forgotten because they're simply irrelevant, because they aren't able to repeat that fame again.
But what separates the influencers that make something of themselves from the forgotten ones? Popular influencer Addison Rae, who blew up in 2019 for her TikToks, has completely rebranded into a pop star, working with the likes of Charli XCX as well as being invited to major celebrity events. Now being recognized for her music, which include her latest hits, Diet Pepsi and High Fashion. The 24-year-old is a prime example of an influencer who was able to make something of herself through capitalizing on her talent and already established fame. The key difference between Addison and forgotten influencers? Adaptability and long-term vision. Influencers who stay relevant constantly reinvent themselves, diversify their income streams, and build businesses beyond their online presence. Think of Emma Chamberlain transitioning from YouTube to fashion and coffee, or Charli D'Amelio moving from TikTok dances to brand collaborations and reality TV. The most successful influencers are the ones who treat their brand like a business. They leverage their audience to create something that lasts, whether that's a product line, a podcast, or even traditional media roles. In 2025, when everyone is an influencer, it's a pretty risky career path since the influencer space is getting quite oversaturated. Hence why far more influencers have come out and admitted to having real jobs on the side, since they don't see their internet careers being a long-term profession for them.
So I am an influencer who 3 months ago decided to get a full-time job because I'm just not a fan of doing influencing full-time. It did not fill my cup up.
Could this come from looking at social media careers from a realistic standpoint, or just a lack of passion? Another question being posed in the argument of whether influencing is a real job is whether influencing would have this much scrutiny if it wasn't a female-dominated industry.
This might get me canceled. This is actually definitely going to get me canceled, but stop talking how much influencers make. The influencer industry is probably the only female-dominated industry that pays well. Pretty much all jobs that are catered to females pay. Nurses and teachers, for example, barely a livable wage. And of course, all the male-dominated spaces pay so well. No one will tell a male athlete they don't deserve the money they make. No one will bat an eye. No one will care that they signed a multi-million-dollar deal with a protein shake company. But an influencer signs a multi-million-dollar deal, people say she shouldn't be making that much. Influencing has given so many women their livelihood. Social media has allowed stay-at-home moms to generate an extra income, or students like me to help support themselves throughout college. It's allowed so many women to be financially free without having a lot of barriers to entry. You don't need a degree or an expensive education or a course. You don't need training. Anyone can be an influencer. So instead of directing all your anger to these influencers and all your resentment, direct it at your government who's not taking care of you. Influencers are not the reason you can't afford to live, it's the government. Is flaunting your wealth as an influencer during times like these tacky? I would say it's a bit distasteful. And I would also just like to add, influencers are worth the amount they're getting paid. Brands would not drop tens of hundreds of thousands of dollars on an influencer if they weren't getting that money in return. What are your guys' thoughts on this topic? Because I really want to know.
Anyways, what do you guys think? Will we ever go back to traditional fame, or will influencers keep dominating pop culture and climb up to A-list status? Let me know in the comments, and make sure to like and subscribe.